everyone. Derek Johnson with Tatango.com. This is a special week in review where we're looking at the top 5 MMS messages sent on Black Friday 2020. Where are we getting all these text messages? SMSarchives.com. SMSarchives.com. Thousands of text messages are being archived from hundreds of top brands. Great resource for anybody in text message marketing. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. The first one we have is T collection. And right off the bat, again, MMS message, that's all we're going to be reviewing today. You can notice that the MMS message is not really clear. It looks a little blurry. The reason it looks blurry is the brand is not uploading the right size of image. And what the phone is doing essentially is it's taking that kind of malformed size and it's shifting it to make it kind of fit the phone. So then it's making it blurry. I'll have somebody link below to a PDF that will show you exactly what size you need to upload, whether it's horizontal or vertical or square, so you don't have to make this mistake. But you can see it's a little bit blurry, and the more difference you have in the size compared to what it's supposed to be, the more blurry it's going to be. So it could be worse, but it's readable, so it's not too bad. T collection. Now at the very, very bottom, kind of distracting, I would just use a link, the blue link. What's happening here is the phone is rendering the link and previewing the link, and it's just really messy. I don't know what's going on. I have an image at the top, a big T at the bottom. It distracts. If you're going to use an MMS message, use the image or the GIF for the video, and then text, and then blue link. That's what I would recommend. The best Friday of the year is here. Shop T's Black Friday sale before it's gone for good. And then I would obviously put shop here and then the link. So, okay, let's jump to the next one. This is Lane Bryant. So if you actually remember the first one, it didn't have a subject line. Did you know that MMS messages can have a subject line like you're seeing here with Lane Bryant? The subject line is bold, which is kind of cool so it's bold, and then you have the image, and then you have the text. And as you can see here, they're using the blue link, which I highly recommend. They're also using a paragraph break at the very bottom to push that exclusions and help for help stuff to the very, very bottom, because it's not that important. Now, that being said though, they need to use way more paragraph breaks in their message, because it all kind of, when I look at it, I go looking for Black Friday deals, you're in luck today. It's just a lot of text, and then you got 25, 40% shop. You could break this up into a ton of different paragraphs, so it's really easy to read. Because again, people only spend 1 or 2 seconds looking at the phone, and if you can't get their attention in that 1 to 2 seconds, you've lost the game. This image looks pretty good. You can see though on the bottom left-hand corner, it's starting to get cut off. That's because iPhone, Android, they're actually showing you a preview of the message. If you click on this image, it would expand and show you the full message. So you got to know that there's areas around the image that get cut off when it gets previewed. So again, I'll link to below a PDF that'll show you where those areas are, so you don't have to make that mistake. It is interesting too on the left-hand side, usually with these tall images, it cuts off more on the left hand than it does on the right hand. As you can see here, it's a little close on the left hand, not as close on the right hand, but overall good. And I like how they used the border. If they wouldn't have had that border there and it would have just been white, it would have looked really bad because it would have blended in with the background, but the border kind of makes it stand out. And then I love how they're using the image of the product and then the text as well. And it's not too small of text, so it works. All right, let's jump to the next one. This one is from Lively. Again, you can see it's a little bit blurry. That's because they're not uploading, the right size image. But I do like the image overall. I like how they're, the top, the bottom, and they obviously know where those cutoff points are, because you can see it's very well centered at the bottom with the text. But I like how they have the text and the different color, on the bottom and the top. I think it looks really good. But it is a little bit blurry, which is going to, impact ROI of a message. And then also at the bottom, again, you don't want too many images in a message. So this one, almost the bottom image is taking more kind of, real estate and kind of more interesting, and it's much more clear than the top message. So the top image. So it's just confusing people. And then also it brings up the point, well, can I click on you can click on the bottom one because it's a link preview, but then can you click on the top one and will it go to the mobile web? No, it won't. So it just, don't put a link preview at the bottom for MMS messages. Lively, Black Friday totes are going fast. Claim yours now before they're gone. Go, go, go. What I always recommend is make sure it's very clear what you want the customer to do. In this case, it would be click to shop now or something like that. Be very, very clear in your messaging. All right, next one. All right, this is awesome. I love GIFs, animated GIFs. So a GIF obviously looks way better because it's moving compared to just a static image. Not maybe as good as a video, but videos are hard to produce. GIFs are much easier to produce than videos. So I love kind of that middle ground, the GIF. And it looks really good. I'm not sure if it looks a little bit blurry, but sometimes GIFs, they just look a little bit blurry, or maybe it was kind of made that way to make it look a little retro. So make sure you're uploading, again, the right size for both images, GIFs, and videos. But I love it because it's like, oh, that's cool. What's going on there? And then the red, I love the background color because, it really stands out on the mobile phone. I usually stick away from solid black and white because you never know what background the phone, is running on. But great use here of paragraph breaks, because they break up the thing. So I get it. I go, like, even the top, I didn't even read the top, but then I went right to take 25% off, and now I'm like, I'm interested. Now I'm going to read the top. That's how people think. So you got to, replicate that in the way you're structuring your message. And then another one is the call to action is very clear. Shop now. Now, I wouldn't use, I think they're rendering either an image or a GIF in the link preview. So now you have like two GIFs going. It's way too confusing. So I would just do shop now and then blue link. That would have been like the perfect message. And also, what's interesting about messaging is do not send, a message that is, this size and then this size and then this size. Send a message that's this size, then one with an image, then one really long. Like, keep mixing it up. If you continue to send the same size message every single time, customers are just gonna kind of skip over the message, and that's obviously not good. So always vary up the messaging. So this one is relatively short. The next one, maybe put a bunch of text in, see how it performs. And I think this is the last one. Really good background here. Also, they know where those cutoff, sides are because it looks relatively kind of equal. I love like a red, a purple, blue, one of those colors, and then you use the white text. It almost seems like an overlay on top of the phone, which is kind of cool. So really good. They also, none of the text is too small, which is good. They're getting close on maybe the shop early, but it's still readable. Now, if it was blurry, I bet that small text would have been too blurry, but they know how to upload the right image. Okay, then they're doing the link preview down there, but they're not even optimizing the link preview. Again, if you're going to use a link preview, make sure it's optimized. With MMS messages, I wouldn't even use the link preview. I'd just use the blue link. And then also here, Williams Sonoma, shop early, Black Friday deals start now, up to fit. Like, I'm going to look at this. I actually looked at this, and I looked at the top, and then I kind of looked at the bottom, and I totally skipped over the big part of the message, the text part, because there was just too much text. Put paragraph breaks all in this. Williams Sonoma, paragraph break. I don't even know why you need to say, well, Williams Sonoma, it's not in the image. If it's in the image, don't put it in the text. Shop early, Black Friday start now, paragraph break, up to 50% off. Paragraph break, Breville, whatever that is, and more, paragraph break, shop now. It would just make it so much easier to read. The easier it is to read, the easier it is for the consumer to comprehend, and then the easier it is for them to click, and then the higher the ROI for the brand. So anyway, that is the top 5 Black Friday MMS messages. Again, my name is Derek Johnson with Tatango.com. You can find all of these messages at smsarchives.com.